Imagine waking up tomorrow to a news alert so explosive it rewrites the global financial landscape in an instant. What if I told you that the very foundations of your wealth are about to be shaken to their core, not by a stock market crash or a crypto surge, but by a seismic shift in the world of international currency, a revaluation event so monumental that it turns conventional finance on its head? Just 5 minutes ago, the financial world was rocked by a leak of staggering proportions, a digital whisper emanating from the secure servers of banking behemoths, Chase and Wells Fargo, suggesting that the impossible has become not just possible, but imminent. We are talking about the Iraqi Dinar potentially skyrocketing to an unprecedented 5.2 and the Vietnamese Dong reaching a staggering 3.94 against the US dollar. Let that number sink in for a moment. This isn't a typo or a baseless rumor from a shadowy forum. This is the kind of data point that, if proven true, signifies a financial tsunami so powerful it would make the dot-com boom and the housing market bubble look like minor economic corrections. For years, even decades, the communities of Dinar and Dong investors have been the subject of skepticism, often labeled as dreamers chasing a fantasy, patiently holding onto their currency notes. Fueled by the promise of a revaluation that would erase debt, create generational wealth, and alter their family's destiny forever. They have endured the roller coaster of rumors, the endless cycles of hope and disappointment, all while maintaining a steadfast belief in the underlying economic potential of Iraq and Vietnam, nations rich in resources and human capital, poised for a dramatic return to the global stage. The narrative has always been that these currencies are artificially low, held down by post-war reconstruction, geopolitical instability, and complex international agreements, and that their true market-driven value is a sleeping giant. Today, that giant may have just stirred. The leak, which we are still in the process of verifying from multiple independent sources, points to internal communications and liquidity preparation documents that use these specific, jaw-dropping figures for contingency planning and high-net-worth client advisories. Why would two of America's most powerful financial institutions be modeling their risk exposure and preparing client briefings based on a Dinar rate of 5.02 and a Dong rate of 3.94 unless they had a credible, high-level reason to believe such an event was on the horizon? This goes far beyond the typical Forex speculation. This is the banking equivalent of battening down the hatches for a hurricane. The implications of such a revaluation are almost too vast to comprehend. Think of every U.S. service member, contractor, and individual who ever held onto dinar notes from their time in the region. Think of the Vietnamese diaspora who have invested in the Dong as a bet on their homeland's explosive economic growth. Overnight, their patience could be rewarded in a way that defies all conventional investment logic. We are looking at the potential for a wealth transfer of historic proportions, a recalibration of global purchasing power that would send shockwaves through everything from the price of oil and gold to the very stability of the US dollar as the world's primary reserve currency. If you hold even a small amount of these currencies, your financial life could be transformed in the time it takes to refresh your banking app. But this is also a moment for extreme caution. The very nature of a leak means the information is raw and unconfirmed by official channels like the Central Bank of Iraq or the State Bank of Vietnam. The Forex markets are a battlefield of information, and the first reports are often the most volatile. Is this a controlled leak to gauge market sentiment? Is it a deliberate piece of disinformation to create a smokescreen for other, larger financial maneuvers? Or is this the genuine article, the first crack of lightning before the storm of a lifetime? We are in the fog of financial war, and the next few hours will be critical. This is not a drill. This is the moment every currency investor has been waiting for. So, if this leak from Chase and Wells Fargo holds even a grain of truth, the immediate and deafening question echoing from every investor, from every living room to every trading floor, is a simple one. How can a currency long traded at a fraction of a penny suddenly be valued at multiple US dollars? The mechanics behind such a staggering revaluation are not found in the simple day-to-day fluctuations of the Forex market. This is not about a slight change in inflation data or a central bank adjusting interest rates by a quarter of a point. What we are potentially looking at is a fundamental and deliberate reset, a geopolitical and economic masterstroke orchestrated at the highest levels of global finance, and the rationale, when you piece it together, is both brilliant and terrifying in its scope. Imagine Iraq, a nation sitting atop one of the world's largest proven oil reserves, finally emerging from decades of conflict and instability, ready to claim its place as a dominant economic engine in the Middle East. For it to do that, to rebuild its infrastructure, to attract serious international investment beyond the oil fields, And to assert its financial sovereignty, it requires a strong, internationally recognized currency. A dinar valued at 5.02 is not just a number, it is a statement. It would instantly slash the nation's external debt burden to a manageable fraction, transform its balance sheet from red to profound black, and give it the monetary firepower to rebuild its cities and industries without being beholden to foreign lenders. This would be the ultimate declaration that the war is truly over and a new era of Iraqi prosperity has begun. Similarly, Vietnam, with its blistering manufacturing growth, its position as a critical alternative in the China plus one supply chain strategy and a tech-savvy young population, is poised to become an Asian economic tiger on par with South Korea or Singapore. A dong revalued to 3.94 would catapult the nation into a completely different economic weight class, increasing its global purchasing power astronomically, allowing it to import the advanced technology and machinery needed to move up the value chain, and making its citizens vastly wealthier on the world stage overnight. This is about national pride and economic power converging into a single cataclysmic monetary event. But the ripple effects extend far beyond the borders of Baghdad or Hanoi. The U.S. Federal Reserve and the Treasury Department would be watching this with a complex mix of apprehension and strategic interest. A stronger dinar and dong fundamentally challenge the hegemony of the U.S. dollar, but they also create massive new markets for American goods and services. Furthermore, for the United States, facilitating or allowing such a revaluation could be seen as a form of ultimate economic restitution for the years of conflict, a way to settle a moral and financial debt by enabling the creation of wealth and stability in regions where it has been deeply involved. The leak itself, originating from American banks, is perhaps the most telling clue of all. It suggests that key pillars of the U.S. financial system are not just aware of this possibility, but are actively preparing for it, positioning their assets and advising their most valuable clients on how to navigate the coming storm of wealth. This is why you don't see these numbers on public Forex platforms yet. This is a behind-the-curtains operation, a quiet shuffling of the deck before the new game is announced to the world. The silence from official channels is deafening, but in the world of high finance, silence is often the loudest confirmation. They are not denying it because they cannot. To deny it would be to cause a panic or worse, trigger a premature market frenzy that would destabilize the entire carefully orchestrated plan. We are in the calm before the storm, a period of unbearable tension where the fate of millions of portfolios, the economic destiny of entire nations hangs in the balance, all on the veracity of a single, shocking data point that promises to turn the world of money as we know it upside down. Therefore, standing at the precipice of what could be the most significant wealth transfer event in modern history, with the whispers from Chase and Wells Fargo still hanging in the digital air, the absolute most critical question shifts from the global why to the intensely personal what now. What do you, as an individual watching this screen, do in these next few fragile hours before the sun rises on a potentially new financial dawn? The first and most non-negotiable rule is to arm yourself with verified, real-time information while maintaining a state of calm, disciplined vigilance. The moment a rumor of this magnitude hits the mainstream, the digital landscape will become a toxic battleground of misinformation, fear-mongering, and predatory scams designed to capitalize on the confusion. You will see fake exchange websites appear overnight, offering to buy your currency at a fraction of the leaked rate. You will receive unsolicited emails from so-called brokers pressuring you into making a rushed, disastrous sale. Your greatest shield against this chaos is knowledge and a trusted source of news. This is the moment where your patience, forged over years of waiting, must hold its strongest. Do not become your own worst enemy by making a panicked decision based on the first unconfirmed tweet or a sensationalist YouTube video from an unverified source. The second step is to have a clear, meditated plan of action for the moment official confirmation comes from a legitimate source like the Central Bank of Iraq, the State Bank of Vietnam, or the International Monetary Fund. If you hold dinar or dong, you must know exactly which reputable, established financial institution or licensed currency exchange you will be dealing with. You need to have your documentation in order, your passport, your proof of purchase, your currency notes securely stored and ready for authentication. The process of exchanging a revalued currency will be complex, fraught with regulatory hurdles and potential liquidity delays, especially in the initial frenzy. Being prepared with your paperwork and knowing your exit strategy, whether it's a full exchange, a partial cash out to clear debts, or a long-term hold for potential further appreciation, will place you miles ahead of the desperate, unprepared crowds who will be scrambling in a state of chaotic euphoria. Remember, the first official rate may not be the final leak number. There could be an initial lower revaluation followed by a gradual climb, or the full rate could be implemented immediately. Your plan must be flexible enough to account for these variables without causing you to abandon logic. Finally, you must consider the profound aftermath, the world after the revaluation. If this happens, your financial life will be irrevocably changed, and with great wealth comes great responsibility and a new set of complex challenges. Suddenly, you will be faced with monumental tax implications, a barrage of investment offers, and the delicate task of managing relationships with family and friends. This is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of a far more complex one. The true success of this event will not be measured by the number in your bank account on day one, but by your ability to preserve, protect, and grow that wealth wisely for generations to come, to use it for good, for security, and for the fulfillment of not just your own dreams, but as a positive force in the lives of those you care about. The leak was the starting pistol. The race to secure your future and navigate this new world begins right now. The silence will break, and when it does, will you be a spectator, or will you be ready? Do not go into this historic moment unprepared. We have been your guide through this breaking story, and we will continue to be your #1 source for verified updates, expert analysis, and the step-by-step guidance you need to navigate the next 72 hours. This channel is dedicated to your financial empowerment. I need you to take 3 actions right now. First, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Second, ring the bell so you get every single update the second it goes live. And third, and most importantly, share this video with every single person you know who holds Dinar or Dong. We are building a community of informed, prepared investors, and together we will navigate this event with wisdom and clarity. Your future self will thank you. The countdown is officially on.